is Lee Craft. This is my podcast. What if today gonna be a good show today, y'all? I can guarantee you that. Hey, today is email Thursday, right? I got an email from Diane P. I did my own went back in the day and did my podcast like I used to do, saying my name, yelling it out like that. Diane P. She's a Mr. Lee. I love your podcast. I don't listen. I haven't. I watch a few episodes on the YouTube, and I love those. But on Spotify, I go back to your earlier shows and everything. How you start your show off, this Lee Craft, all those things and stuff. She said, I missed all your characters, and she named them out. She wrote them all out in the email. She said, I miss Pineapple Chunks. I miss Blacker Than Me. I miss Mama Deuce. I miss Butterfly, Silky and Smooth, Danny Boy, Van the Man, and your niece Ashley and T. She said, your podcast was different. You know, she said your podcast wasn't about what I see on other podcasts about degrading or about talking about a lot of celebrities. Your celebrities were the people that you dealt with, people that you came in contact with, and she said, I want to thank you for that. You know, I want to thank you for that. And I want to say, Miss Diane, Miss P, you're welcome. Like I told you, my podcast is about options. You know, it's about life lessons and everything. The famous, you know, a lot of times they make the news, they'll make breaking news, all those things. But the ordinary John and Jane Does, that's what I'm really trying to help. And you got some famous people probably listening in as well. But my main thing is focus on those people who are going to their 9 to 5, their 8 hour a day or 10-hour a day job and stuff, and trying to make ends meet. You know, like we all have. Like I said, I listen to my old shows too, Miss Diane, and like I said, those shows mean a lot because those people that I shared the break room with, shared my workspace with, all those things. It's we were there to help each other, you know, and they gave me the utmost respect, you know, and also we helped build them up too, for giving them courage. Man, if you only knew, I'm giving you a glimpse of some of the things that we went through, for dealing with people, for making people change their ways and everything. Because everybody that was on the show, hey, they were all characters, and a lot of them had good hearts. But some of them didn't. The Donna Blaze of the podcast, she was a work in progress. You know, people will show you one thing and then do something totally different. But Donna Blaze started to get better before I left St. Jude, and sometimes it's just hard to pull people from doing what they do. But what if was to give you an option. You don't have to deal with everything. It was to give you a sign that when you saw certain things start to form, you know what to do about that. You know, you don't have to deal with people and stuff. And that was the real main focus of my podcast. Even before I got to St. Jude, I worked a lot of different places and everything. You know, sometimes your job fades out. You got to have a new beginning here, new beginning there. You don't want to relocate, so you got to start all over again. And those are the challenges that I faced. And for some of you to face the same challenges and stuff, it gave you a glimpse of, hey, it's gonna be okay. You know, that's why I always say on my show on a daily basis, no matter what you're going through, I can guarantee you one thing: it's going to be okay. I can guarantee you that as long as you make God a part of your life. You know, but what if I told you that the podcast didn't just help my listeners, it was also therapeutic for me. You know, because a lot of times you can have things inside you for so long you'll implode. You know, and my podcast was about letting your light shine. You know, my brother was always telling me, man, you gotta get a lot of what if scenario. I said, I should. But sometimes people know the name of the podcast, and I'm telling the stories. And a lot of stories got a lot of what ifs in it. What if you did this? What if you didn't do that? And when you start listening, it put a smile on my face. You know, sometimes I don't be smiling, but my heart is smiling big big because you never know who you're touching, people. You never know. See, Diane, that's why I did what I did because, oh man, people are going through things. People are dealing with a lot. And sometimes you don't see those signs that they're dealing with or what they're going through. And you say, man, that'd be all right. No, they might not be okay. They might not be okay. Sometimes you need to ask that question, how are you doing today? You know, how are you? How's the family? You know? Oh, I didn't know that happened. I'm so sorry to hear that. You know? But those are the things that get people over those humps. Sometimes they feel that they're walking alone, you know. And sometimes people they don't know how to respond to people being caring. It's crazy, but that's how it is. That's the realities of the world, though. You know, people got it bad in Lee Craft. They don't care about me. How do you know? When somebody say good morning or how's your day going, they're not trying to hear your life story. They just say good morning just common courtesy. Just common courtesy. That's basically it. And sometimes it should put a smiley face. But honestly, sometimes people will say what? Nothing. Will walk past you, won't say a doggone thing. And they can know your name. It won't say nothing. You know, when I worked at St. Jude, I just come to that door every morning before I get to that door. I would always say, God, I thank you for this day. God, let me be a beacon of light for somebody who's going through what they're going through. And I was. Now I'm going to give you a little inside scoop, Diane. Now, I work in the Animal Research Center, right? And I used to go out there at lunchtime. I used to sit on the bench out there. And I'll call my wife for a minute, talk to my wife for a minute. Then I'd sit on the bench, me and God, sit and have a conversation. People stop by the bench and just talk to me. Just talk to me. See me laughing. One lady asked me, what's your name? What's your name? Somebody Lee Craft. Every day I see you, you always have a smile on your face. She said, one day I was coming through the door and I wasn't feeling too good. When I saw you, you changed my whole mood. That's what I'm telling you, people. What if you do those things? We have the power to change somebody's mood swing. You know? Like Pineapple Chunks. She was her own person. Pineapple Chunks said some crazy things. Blacker than me was the same exact way. You know? Mama Deuce got on the show one day and told her story. She had tears all in her eyes. Silk and Smooth told her story. She's always helping people and stuff, right? That's all I'm saying, good people. My podcast made people open up and tell some stories that they wouldn't ordinarily tell. Even Van the Man, when he told his story about him and his girlfriend going through what they were going through and stuff, and she asked something that was out of the ordinary. He said, "God, shut up!" You know? And we laughed at that. Sometimes the only way to get through your pain is to relive your pain and own your pain. Own it. That's why I say on a daily basis, if I was to do something that was out the way and people said, Lee Craft, I remember we did I did that. See, people don't look for you to say own certain things. Look for you to say, no, that wasn't me. No, if I did it. Okay, what did you want from me? When you own certain things, they put it down. So yeah, Miss Diane, my characters on the show was all put together for a reason. But what if I told you that What If podcast was not only therapeutic for me, but also for Pineapple Chunks when she lost her son? She was going through, her mind was going 100 miles an hour. She said, Mr. Lee, she said, your podcast saved me. I said, well, really? How did it save you? It got my mind off of my son. Got me in a better place. Now that's what I'm talking about. See, I was talking to a partner of mine. You know, he said, "Crap, man, what if your podcast don't make it?" I said, "What do you mean don't make it?" My podcast is gonna make it. I said, "Do you smell that? Smell what? You can't smell my blessing. Maybe it's not for you." I guess God said it is my blessing. People can't see your vision, people. That's why I said on my podcast, what if when you got a vision, all only person that needs to know your vision is you and your Heavenly Father. So, Diane, like I said, I will revisit some of the old shows and bring some of the old shows on YouTube and and have some fun with it. Have some fun with it. You know, some of the old characters. Like I said, everybody's going different directions now, so everybody got different schedules. So it'll be kind of hard to kind of bring those back. Oh yeah, I forgot one. You left one off, Miss Diane. Lady T. Lady T was a character. Lady T was a character. I remember time Lady T she was at I think a church function, and this lady she was eating. I think the lady had made a pie or something, and the lady asked how the pie tastes. She said, I don't care for this pie. They could did better this, and she said, I made that pie. They be like, oh. Like I said, when you are a genuine person and people feel that, they open up and they give you the best version of themselves. And not only that, what if I told you that everybody I came in contact with at St. Jude got a little bit better? You said it was because of you, Lee Crap. No. It's because of the God in me. Because when you talk a certain way and you walk a certain way, they're watching you. All eyes on you. All eyes on you. And don't be ashamed to give God his praise. And don't be ashamed, like I've always said, of doing the right thing. It's easy to say the right thing. And also easy to do the right thing. But like I said, Diane, you maybe go back and reflect back. Like I said, email Thursday. I'm thankful for it. But what if you didn't send me that email this morning? I probably don't keep on doing my show, talking about some things that how I can help somebody get through this day or that moment or certain situations and everything. How to get people closure on certain things that they're going through. Yeah. I prayed for Miss Andrea. Yeah. That she would get better. That's a conversation me and Andrea has. And Miss Andrea, I'm praying for you. Mr. Lane, are you? Yeah. I'm praying for you. I pray for everybody that I come in contact, even the ones I don't see, even the ones that I dislike their ways. I still pray for you. God don't like ugly. And he ain't too fond of cute. So, Miss Diane, I hope that answered your question about me going back. I'm going to start pulling back to go listen to some old shows on Spotify. And I want to thank you for listening. Continue to listen to Spotify because I promise you, I listen to it too. I listen to the old show, man. They be having me laughing because I was around a lot of characters and we had fun. And one thing I've always said, in order to have a real conversation, you got to have real people. And they were real people. They shared. And every now and again, you will have somebody like Donna Blaze or try to do a little slick stuff. But say one thing about how God works. I knew everything Donna Blaze was doing or trying to do. But that's why I always say, when God is for you, who could be against you? Donna Blaze tried her best, and it didn't work. It didn't work. And every time she saw me, she just looked at me like, you still standing? No. I said, see, if we don't know God, you don't see God. I said, we still standing. So, like I said, good people, no matter what you're going through, it's going to be okay. I can guarantee you that. And keep listening in. Like I said, send me an email. And like I said, I go through it and I put it on the show. Because what God has for me, it is for me. What God has for you, it is for you. Unless you don't want it. I want mine. Because when it comes from him, I know it's going to be. Tell me, have you heard the good news? Tell me, have you heard the good news? That Lee Craft is something else. So, like I said, good people, Miss Diane P., thank you again for sending an email in. And with that being said, Lee Craft, this is my podcast with If you have any comments or concerns, please email me at leecraftwhatif@gmail.com. One band, one sound. Together, we got an opportunity to turn this whole world around. But in order to have a real conversation, you got to have real people if you want to have a real conversation. Have a blessed day. And please find time and make time to tell